Welcome to Men Are Forged podcast, where we are building men for lasting success and a meaningful life. I'm your host, Cartwright Morris, a certified life and career coach here in Birmingham, Alabama. Before we get started with today's recap, please check out menareforged.com to see my coaching, my courses, as well as some other content. What I do full-time is I coach with a counseling firm called calvertassociates.com. I do virtual meetings, so please look on calvertassociates.com and schedule a session with me today. I also do life coaching as well as career strategy sessions. So if you're stuck in your career, you're feeling a lack of purposelessness, a lack of meaning, a lack of lasting success, things that feel like you're just kind of going through the motions, not building anything, or just need some sanity, please reach out to me at menareforged.com or calvertassociates.com. All right, here's today's episode. All right, happy Friday. Here's my recap of the Jeff Felten interview. Right off the bat, I could say Jeff was definitely very in tune with his story and really what led him to where he's at. I was very impressed just and how willing he was wanting to go there, of just breaking down his thoughts of, what in high school, college, and even right out of college, his thinking was, how limited he was in his understanding of what he could do the rest of his life. That's where I'm kind of, very much at myself in just the last 10 years, breaking that down of like what I thought was normal, what I thought was good and real. And, so it was just fun to hear his take on it and the things that, just thinking out loud in a lot of ways of just like wanting to, make a good living, to provide with his family, have freedom to do the things he wanted to do, but also create a business that serves others, helps other people. So I guess, right off the bat, there was minute 8, second 20. He kind of went into that, his early life of just limited on options, living in kind of rural South Carolina. Really, talked about how baseball he thought was his only really lane of success. And he eventually got to, found out pretty quickly that, there's a lot of people better than him. I think we all kind of get to that place as young men. We're like, we kind of get tunnel vision and we think, oh yeah, this is what's going to make me, successful, a man. This is where I'm going to find, probably the worst thing we say is this is where I'm going to find identity, whether we say it out loud or not. And we miss the beauty of living life and figuring out really what that is. I know for me, I'm very much, I did that for sure. Thought maybe football coaching was going to be my saving grace, where I felt worthy, I felt love, I felt appreciation, I felt a value of my skills, because I didn't really know what my skills were. And I didn't, so it took a lot of my 20s just figuring out, well, heck, what am I good at? What's the conversion factor, right? What am I passionate about? What am I good at? And what can I make money in? There's kind of the convergence of all those three, and Jeff kind of went into that. He talked about playing baseball in college, did that for a couple years, and then ended up, he said, I asked him what position he played, and he said, oh, the bench. So he had a funny little jab at himself, which I love, people who have little, can make fun of themselves, right? That's the best type of humor. Excuse me, I am under the weather a little bit. But by minute 17:35, he talked about exposure to jobs, best specifically talking to a friend in graphic design, and he was like, had this massive realization. I think it was right out of college, he said, and just like, wait, you can have a job in that? Like help building websites? I think that was just really fascinating. I think we all come to that place of like, wait, I can make a living, like a good living. I can provide for myself and do something that's just totally outside of the box of what I think is normal. I thought that was a really cool moment. By minute 23, he also talked about just trial and error, which, like, if I could tell anybody something that in their 20s is like trial and error. That is where you learn experience by doing. I mean, it's the title of the episode, how experience can change the direction of your life. Like when you try and do things, you're willing to take risks, you're willing to fail, you're willing to learn. You find the people around you that'll help you do that, but then also you'll figure out what you're good at, what you like, what you don't like. And he talked about that being helping a friend run his coffee shop, helping his buddy's coffee shop. And really his part that he started really getting drawn to as they were like, he was literally sounding like he was doing everything. And I guess it's, in a small business, you kind of got to, when you're helping somebody run, you kind of got to do a little bit of everything. But he said the part that drew him was building the brand of the coffee shop. And he had the great quote that I put in the Instagram. You can check out Minter Forge Instagram page. He said, I enjoy doing that. And I thought, how do I do more of that? Like that question when you're like, man, I enjoy doing that part of it. How do I then create a job and even a life where I'm doing more of that? Like putting mental energy, mental space to making that happen. I thought that was a great little insight that he had about his own life that I think many of us need to really pay attention to. What is something that you enjoy doing and you actually allow yourself to think, how can I do more of that? So Jeff, I mean, he really got in really deep, some really powerful stuff. I'm very thankful for some of the insights that he had. By minute 25, second 50, I think I have it written down. Do something that fills me up every day. I think that's kind of jumping off the enjoyment part, is like doing something that where I get energy from. I think there's too many times I think people get in their life of why they feel meaninglessness, why they feel disappointment in their daily life, is they're doing too many things that suck energy out, that create only stress and no reward. That there's just not enough things where they're like getting energy from that they enjoy doing to some level. So he talked about that. Minute 23, kind of complimenting with that is like, man, he kind of came to this realization, man, I got to feel free. I don't feel beholden to too much in creating a job that does that. And the big thing is the freedom to go play. He talked about him loving the outdoors. That's kind of initially what we were wanting to get into in the episode, was adventure stuff. And then, and then also golf. He loves playing golf. I thought that was really interesting. And then, and so a little revelation, I guess, to pause a little bit. My own little hiccup in what I learned from this episode was, I kind of, you send a list of topics to a guest, and you're like, and he responded with fun and adventure, prioritizing, which we definitely get into that. He kind of ended a lot on that, prioritizing fun and adventure. But I kind of went into it thinking that and not knowing his story, and it was kind of fun to, as I was like leaning into, if you listen to the interview, the first part is I'm trying to steer it a certain way, and Jeff is kind of putting it down, and he's kind of really getting in his own story and really reflecting on his own story. And I was trying to steer it, and I had to stop and just kind of let him really just ask questions about his life early on. And that's generally when I ask that question, it generally is the kickoff point to really where we're going. But I think I went into it thinking it was going to go a certain way, and eventually got there unintentionally. But that was by listening to Jeff's story and asking him questions about his life, which was really cool. he kind of at the end of minute 27 talked about a job is not worth giving up freedom. I think that's a really powerful thing. There's something, I guess when you're more of an entrepreneur, or you've been in a business long enough, you can kind of, you've put in your time, you can definitely create more freedom. I think that's a very powerful, beautiful thing, because I think he even talked about getting up early in his day just so he can get done by noon to go play golf or do things that he wanted to do. Yeah, so minute 32, second 10, he talked about prioritizing fun, making that a priority in his life with his wife and his new baby girl. And then kind of the ending of the episode was really good. He kind of, he kind of mixed the two of like the power of having a business, building a business, but also creating freedom to do the things you want to do. Yeah, so he went minute 35, went into building a business that serves me instead of me serving my business. I thought that was really good. Building a business that serves me instead of like me serving the business. I thought that was really it's a healthy perspective, and really kind of shapes your priorities at, what you're looking for in life, what you're really wanting to do when it comes to business. It could kind of help shape your goals. Like, I think people that end up serving their business, it's all about the bottom line. It becomes, you serve the business, it becomes maybe more of an obsession, and not a healthy balance. And sometimes it also is just a personality thing. I know many, if you're an Enneagram person, I know the threes, the achievers, a lot of times they work 10, 12 hours a day because they feel useless if they only worked 6 or 7, right? He kind of goes back into his upbringing, and just that was what I love. The theme of the interview was growing up, I didn't know I could have business with great margins that also serves people. It's like that new revelation you have in your 20s when you start really understanding business, you understand your earning potential. You kind of can begin to really, you step into a new like headspace, almost like a new reality, especially in America, where it's like, man, you could do something that really I can provide for my family in a very healthy, like lucrative way even. And because I'm giving great value to others, that it's not something I think, and it kind of hit on that a little bit. I think that's what a lot of us, I think especially millennials, is the belief that, man, if I make a lot of money, then I can't help people. But really, if I'm adding value and it's bringing value to people, people will pay for it, and I'll make a good living off of it. And I can, I think that was what's interesting in our conversation was like, he's like, I provide for my family really well, but also we have money to do things that we want to do. And I think all of us kind of want to get to that point. By minute 41, he talked about the reason why he moved to Washington State from Alabama, which that was crazy. I didn't know he lived in Birmingham for I think 5 years is what he said, for a time, and I didn't even know he was here. I may have even met him. We did have a similar friend, which is funny. Just a small world. Just the easy access to adventure by moving to Washington State. He said the only thing about Alabama is he missed the food. If you've been out to Washington, he's in the eastern section of the state. It's such a beautiful section, and it doesn't rain as much, which is nice, but mountains are everywhere. You really could, you're probably 5 to 10 minute drive to some beautiful spots. Minute 43, you talked about the only thing missed about the Southeast was the food. Nobody does barbecue like us down here. And you'd be shocked, Birmingham is very much an up-and-coming, not even really, you can't even really say up-and-coming anymore. It really is a food city. I'm trying to think when it was voted like the number one city for restaurants at one point. I think the top restaurant last year, the year before. It was before COVID. Anyway, that's my episode today. Hope you go back and check out episode 43 with Jeff Felten. Give me a like, a subscribe, a follow, and definitely rate and review. That helps other people find me, and especially if you're gaining from some of these interviews, especially if you're a young professional trying to figure out life, career, where you're heading. I'll keep bringing this content that just adds to your life, that helps you get in the right mindset that then will lead to behaviors. That's what I think all of my guests do, is somehow they've come to the place through failure, right, through pain, and they came to a revelation that's changed the trajectory of their life. So my encouragement is you today, don't learn from pain, just learn from pain from others. I think that's only the two ways we really change and grow, is through our pain in our own life, which is inevitable. But right now, this podcast, I'm providing you people that learn from the pain of their own life and now are successful, living whole, happy lives that still deal with stuff, but yet there is a powerful place that they're at that I hope adds to your life. See you next time.